Imagine for a second seeing the world, but not with your eyes. Sounds like something straight out of science fiction, right? Well, it's actually the very real goal of a project we're going to break down today. This isn't about fixing the eyes. This is about going straight to the source, the brain, to create vision itself. So let's dive in. This question right here is really the whole ballgame. The core idea is to completely bypass the normal visual system and forge a brand new pathway for sight, one that starts and ends right inside the brain. And this is the key. For so many people, the part of their brain that handles vision, the visual cortex, works perfectly fine. The problem is the hardware that feeds it information, the eyes, the optic nerves. If they're damaged, that visual signal just can't get through. Blindsight's whole strategy is to create a direct connection, leapfrogging over that broken hardware entirely. Now, an idea this revolutionary doesn't just happen in a vacuum. Neuralink is locked in a high-stakes, high-tech race with other companies, all trying to be the first to successfully bridge that final frontier between the human brain and a computer. We're talking billions of dollars on the table, and the competition is absolutely fierce. Just look at that number, $1.3 billion. That's how much Neuralink has raised so far. A number that big tells you two things. One, just how insanely complex and expensive this research is, and two, the massive, world-changing potential that investors see in this tech. This is way beyond just a cool science experiment. It's a billion-dollar bet on completely rewriting the future of human biology. Okay, what's so fascinating here is that you're seeing completely different philosophies on how to tackle the same problem. On one hand, you've got BlackRock, a true pioneer in this field, using a proven but more rigid cortical array. Then there's Synchron, which has this radically different, less invasive approach. They call it endovascular, which means they actually deploy their device through your blood vessels to avoid open brain surgery. And then you have Neuralink, taking this incredibly high-risk, high-reward path, surgically implanting over 1,000 ultra-thin, flexible threads directly into the brain's cortex, all done by a robot.
So how does this all actually work? How do you even begin to create vision out of thin air? Well, it's a pretty incredible dance between an external camera and direct stimulation of the brain. Let's break it down. It all starts pretty simply, with an external camera. You can picture it mounted on a pair of glasses, capturing the world just like your phone does. That visual feed gets beamed wirelessly to a processor that translates the image into a pattern of electrical signals. Those signals are then sent to the implant inside the skull, which uses its thousands of tiny electrodes to play that pattern directly onto the brain's visual center. And then, the final and kind of magical step, the brain takes those pulses of electricity and interprets them as a coherent image. This right here, this is the biological bullseye. The entire system is built to talk to this one specific part of the brain. The visual cortex is basically the brain's main hub for sight. It's the place where all the raw signals from your optic nerve get turned into the rich, detailed visual world we all experience. The absolute genius of Blindsight, if it works, is that it's learning to speak the native electrical language of this region directly. And this number gives you a sense of the firepower that Blindsight is bringing to the table. We're talking about roughly 3,000 individual points of contact. That's what allows the device to create a much more detailed and coherent image in the brain. It's the difference between seeing a few random flashes of light and actually being able to recognize the shape of a face or an object. You can't just have a surgeon manually place thousands of electrodes that are thinner than a human hair into the brain. It's just not possible. This is where the surgical robot becomes absolutely essential. It's designed to stitch these threads into the cortex with incredible micron-level precision, doing it fast enough to make the surgery practical and smart enough to actually dodge tiny blood vessels and minimize damage. It's that level of automation that makes this whole concept even remotely possible. But here's the thing, restoring sight is really just the first step. The true ambition here is so much bigger. This technology isn't just about replacing a lost sense, it's about opening a direct, high-speed line of communication with the brain. And as you're about to see, things are moving very, very fast. Just look at this timeline. It shows you just how quickly the dominoes are falling. In the span of just a couple of years, they've gone from getting their first approvals to actually implanting the device in a human. And now, with a breakthrough device status from the FDA, human trials for Blindsight itself could be starting as soon as 2026. That's an incredible pace.
Now, Neuralink has been pretty smart about managing expectations. They've been very clear that the first version of this won't be crystal clear HD vision. Elon Musk himself has compared it to something like old-school Atari graphics. But that's just the starting line. The long-term goal isn't just to match human sight, but to one day potentially exceed it, maybe even allowing users to perceive things like infrared or ultraviolet light.
And the technology is just getting better and better, faster and faster. This quote here hints at a new chip with 3 times the power of the current one. What does that mean? It means higher resolution, faster processing, a much more detailed connection to the brain. The pace of this innovation is just relentless.
And this is the end game. Restoring movement and sight are the profound, necessary first steps. But the foundational mission that's driving all this money and research is the idea of creating a super high bandwidth interface for the brain, one that could eventually lead to a true merger of human and artificial intelligence, fundamentally upgrading our own cognitive abilities.
Okay. With ambitions that big, we have to take a step back and have a reality check. Because a technology that can literally change what it means to be human also comes with some absolutely massive challenges, both on the science side and, of course, on the ethics side.
So, let's be clear. The engineering problems here are far from solved. The human brain is an incredibly hostile environment for technology. The implant has to survive inside the body for decades without being rejected. The signals it reads and writes have to stay crystal clear and stable over all that time. Those super delicate threads can't be allowed to shift or pull out. And, of course, making the leap from Atari graphics to something genuinely useful and clear, that's a monumental challenge.
And the technical hurdles are frankly matched by these profound ethical questions. I mean, when a chip can read your neural signals, who owns that data? How do we protect a person's deepest privacy and their freedom to think? And if this tech ever moves from just treatment to actual enhancement, could it create a new biological divide in society between the enhanced and the unenhanced? These aren't just scientific questions anymore. They're deeply philosophical ones about our shared future.
And at the end of the day, that's the real question we're left with. A technology that can give sight to the blind is, without a doubt, a powerful force for good. But a technology that can rewrite the very boundaries of human experience forces all of us to confront who we are and who we want to become. That door is now officially opening, and we all have to decide what we want to walk through it.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. It really helps the channel grow. See you in the next video.